This is the cool part of getting that one step ahead and feeling like you're one step ahead is when you set the standard of when you're going to talk, when you're going to build these connections and these relationships with these people and keep them informed on what's going on. The beauty with this is that you actually get that chance to set them up so they know when they're going to be hearing from you. The worst thing you ever want is having your client go, I don't know when I'm going to hear from Matt Benelli next. So because I don't know when I'm going to hear from them next, I guess I'm now the one who's going to have to pick up the phone and call him and be like, hey, what's going on with this?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to 10 Tenths, where we coach real estate agents out of burnout into high-performing businesses that fuel their lives. Guys, welcome. As always, Garrett Fry is with me. My name is Matt Benelli, and thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. If this is your first time tuning into a 10 Tenths episode, gosh, you're in for a good one. We're going to be talking about being proactive today. But also, if it's your first time here, head over to 10tenths.co and learn more about what we have to offer, because while we have great content, we have even more content inside of our community. We have group coaching. We have individual coaching if you want it. We're kicking off an Accelerator today. We're going to be doing business planning towards the end of the year, and even maybe announcement around some live events, which is going to be really, really cool. So we appreciate you guys being here. Welcome, Garrett. Good morning to you, sir.
Today, we're going to talk about stage 5 clingers.
Yes. Yep.
I couldn't even get the word out. Clingers.
And what we're going to be talking about is how you cannot be one, but still be outrageously proactive on top of everything with your clients versus being reactionary, because that's just like, ugh.
Well, the reason this was taught to me many years ago, that if the client is having to reach out to you for information, you're not being proactive for them. You're not being the person that they can look and say, that's the person that has the answers for me. Even before I knew that I need to ask for it, they had the great information. And I think so many of us, Matt, and then this is a great topic you brought up, we get stuck in this place of like, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to be pushing my business on them. I don't want to be chasing them. And I always go back to, did they ask you about real estate? Like at any point in time? Like
didn't they just hire you to help them buy a house? Like, what are we doing? I guess there's stages, right? Of the, hey, we're thinking about, doing something, and then we're actually contracted to do something. But like, gosh, if the door's open, let's show up. As an advisor, Garrett, I find we overwhelm ourselves with stuff, and like, oh, I got to communicate and do all these things. And then we end up just freezing and not doing it. When if we just have a system in place, we can be on top of these things, and we can show up in a way that has our clients going, gosh, this is a great process, even if there's challenging transactions that are associated with it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then there's so many parts of real estate that is so confusing for our clients out here. And this is where I look at the opportunities to be able to give so much great information, whether it's about the process of them needing to buy or sell right now, or if it's the process of just being a good homeowner and giving great information that just adds to their lives. We have so much at our fingertips. But again, there's this part here of not wanting to feel like we're chasing. I've said it before, Matt. Sometimes we're so afraid of being a salesperson that we like run the other direction from being a salesperson. It's like, wait, come back. It's not salesy. Like there's a lot of pieces of this that aren't salesy. It's about you have knowledge and information that will make this person's world better. They don't even know the questions to ask sometimes. Like these are our chances to lean into these opportunities.
Yeah, it is. Well, so maybe we should look at this in a few phases, let's say. There's like this initial phase of, and we're going to talk about people who have opened the door. So we're not, lead strategies, prospecting, staying in communication with people. We've talked a lot about that stuff. But Garrett, I'm coming to you and I'm saying, Garrett, I'm thinking about selling my house. We have a conversation about it, right? But it's not formal. We're just, hanging around the track, or we're having a couple of beers and I'm just like, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house, right? The door's now open for you to talk to me about real estate, but you're like, Matt said he's thinking of selling, but I don't want to come off as salesy, right? So like, what are we going to do to keep that conversation going forward? What are we going to do to show up as that advisor so that when I'm like, yeah, now's the time, I'm like, Garrett, let's get over here and get this thing going.
Well, I think the scary part of this is like, well, how soon can I do a listing presentation? It's like, hold on a second. Like, let's ask more questions. Let's learn about where is this person at? What are they trying to accomplish? Where are they trying to go? What's even making you think about wanting to sell your home right now? What right now is not making your current home not the perfect house for you? And you just start to learning more about this, because I think we can come across overwhelming when we go, you know what, I'm just going to start giving them information, or maybe what should I just be giving them? You only give them stuff that's going to be important to them in the situation that they're in. And I think it can become overwhelming on the client side when you don't ask any questions, and all of a sudden you are now on them through email, through phone calls, through everything, just going like, so you mentioned you wanted to sell, like, are you working with a realtor? Do you need, do you want me to start getting stuff for you? It's like, stop worrying so much about this person that needs to sell in the aspect of you getting a deal or a listing. Because I guarantee you, if you pay attention to them, if you ask more questions about them, their job transfer, where their kids are going to college, all this types of stuff, you can find everything you need to be able to follow up. And now you're not clingy, and you're not like, they're not going, how can I get this person off me? And you're providing, conversation that will lead to where they're going. It will lead down the path. And I think, Matt, we always have to kind of think about that. How are we leading this and just helping it down the path of helping this person get to where they want to go?
Yeah.
You got to ask to know, though.
You do have to ask. I think that's the biggest thing. And okay, easy to do if we're in the conversation in the moment, but now it's like weeks have gone by and I haven't heard from Matt. What do I do? And that's where you just call and say, hey, when we were grabbing beers the other day, you were mentioning that you were thinking of selling. I'd love to learn more about like what's encouraging that for you? What's going on in your world, or if you do know, hey, what's going on with that thing that we talked about, or how can I serve you, whatever it is. But I think we get to this, I need to just push content, right? And I would say the only thing that you could potentially share at this point is, if you are their trusted advisor, is do a market impact report. That's probably the one thing, because if you start being like, oh, let me give you guys the top 5 things you need to do to get your home ready and all this stuff, wait until they bring that stuff up. Because you might say like, Garrett, tell me more about, why you're looking to sell. Well, I got a job transfer coming up, but we were able to push it off until, my daughter's done with school. And so we have a few months. Oh, cool. Like what's your plan for the next few months? And then you learn more. And then if there is an opportunity to offer some value, only if it makes sense, hey, would it be helpful if, right? It's coming up on spring. If you're thinking of listing in the fall, spring photos are great for the exterior. Would it be helpful if we got that taken care of earlier on? Maybe that can come up, but that's only going to happen, Garrett, through these questions that you were talking about.
But Matt, how you said it was like, it's funny. So on so many coaching calls, I'll have somebody go, how do I re-engage this person? I was just thinking about you because a couple weeks back you mentioned this, and I was curious, like, what's making you guys, this has been on my mind since we talked about it. What's making you guys need to move? That simple question right there. I've had so many people that are like, well, that seems doable. I'm like, well, because you're not, there's no pressure. You're being curious. And you mentioned a, market impact report. And I think this is an awesome opportunity. You don't have to say, would it be helpful for you if I did a market impact report for you? What you do is you listen here, you learn about where they're at, and then you get off the phone, then you create the market impact report, and then you can call them up and say, based on the conversation we had earlier today or yesterday or the day before that, I was thinking about it. I put this together for you. I thought it might be of value.
Yeah.
I'm going to send it over. I'll drop it in the mail today. I'd love to, maybe we can go grab a beer together if it's comfortable, but I'll just send it over. And if you have any questions, let me know, just so you guys kind of know where you're at. You have more information about where you stand right now when the time comes that you need to sell.
And this is a dance, Garrett, that can go on for, I've seen some people go on years who have, they were thinking of selling, but in this upfront opportunity, you get to build a relationship. And then you're going to start to build a cadence of value, because if these people are in your database too, here's the other thing. If you feel like you need to add more content to their world, we probably have a marketing problem that's underlying this whole thing, because they should be getting value from you through postcards and other things that you send through the mail. They should be getting value from you through email and other things. They're in our trust pathway, what we call the value added stage and the qualification stage. We're in this space where we have the opportunity for some limited personal, content like the market impact report and solutions to specific questions that they have. You don't need to push new content because all the other stuff is also still there supporting you as their advisor at this point.
Well, this is why I go back to make it about them. Like that is that is the way that you can always remove yourself from being salesy, is making it about them. Remove yourself from being clingy, make it about them. And what I know is that, let's say it takes 2 years. Let's say you're doing this, Matt, this back and forth, this dance for 2 years with these people. There's a lot of people out there that are going, why am I wasting my time with this person? They're not buying, they're not selling. They keep looking like they're going to, and then they pull back and they don't do it. I'm just wasting my time. Here's the cool part. You give this time and attention to this type of person, the chances of them having a conversation with one of their friends thinking about buying or selling, and they go, you know who I'm going to introduce you to? We have the most amazing real estate agent, always been by our side, always has given us great information, always helped us kind of figure out what we should be doing right now. Let me connect you with Matt Benelli. That's who I need to connect you with. And that's the opportunity that a lot of us get lost in. We're so worried about, is there a transaction sitting right in front of me? And the best thing you can do is take care of these people. If this is going to turn into a transaction, believe me, they move to people that take care of them and understand them. If it's going to turn into a referral, the more you take care of them and understand them, the more comfortable it is to say, let me put you guys in touch, because Matt's never steered me wrong. You guys are going to love him. He's a good person. And he's a great realtor.
And that's what you want. That's what you want. I think anybody would want their brand to have that level of reputation. My neighbor's house, they just put it on the market. It's weird. I got like both sides on both sides. This one sold, just a few months ago.
Does that say something about you, Matt? Like, what's going on, man?
Maybe. I mean, like, do we smell? So it's funny. I went over and asked the agent at an open house, and I was like, oh, I'll go say hi, let them know. I like to do that kind of thing. I mean, come on, I'm in the industry. I'm very curious how people run their open houses. And I said, great. How do you guys know, Tony and Nori? And he said, well, they were basically a lead 3 years ago. They were thinking of selling at that point. And he's like, I just stayed in touch with them. Right now, I don't know what he did or how he did that, but I would guess it's probably something pretty simple and basic. And look, now he has the house listed.
I can almost guarantee you he did not call them every month going, are you guys thinking about selling yet? Not yet?
Guaranteed.
Okay. Let me know. Let me know if you guys are thinking about selling, because I'm your guy. I'm your guy. I want to list your house when we get that time. He did not do that every single month. And it's funny, nobody really does that every month because it's such a turnoff. But this is where I go back to Matt. We're so careful and cautious because we don't want to be that person that we actually push away from the whole thing altogether. And then we're back to square one again. Might as well not have had the lead altogether.
Well, and that's where, the whole where do I find new business? It's this cycle of you not showing up for the relationships that are right there in front of you, and that building this massive pipeline of opportunity, because you can then be differentiated across each independent relationship in your database. Which then when it comes into, now we have the opportunity to do business, like, yes, we are going to sell, we are going to buy. Garrett, this is another place where people say, well, I don't want to overwhelm my clients with too much stuff. And so we just typically kind of throw everything out there in the beginning, even though we don't want to overwhelm them. And then we never refer back to it through the whole transaction. Well, I gave it to them up front, right? And this is where we also can see gaps in communication when it's like, if we want to be proactive, we need to have a good communication strategy, which might feel like too much communication, but it's not. It really isn't.
Communication never killed a relationship. I'll just say that right there. Over communicating never killed a relationship. It only strengthens a relationship because both parties know where they stand. You're talking enough that everybody knows exactly where we stand. And I think, when it comes to a working relationship, this is the power, Matt, of going like, look, no matter what, you're going to hear from me every single week on this date at this time. Between 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, you will hear my voice. It's either going to be on your voicemail or you're going to choose to pick it up and we're going to talk. But until we complete this relationship of this part of it, this phase of it, this is what you can expect from me. And which means you're going to have a lot of communication. And you're also going to say, there's also important stuff I'm going to give to you outside of this. So I'll always call you here, but you're going to hear from me here and here and here if there's something that needs to be attended to. And again, this is that over communicating up front and then setting the stage for you're going to talk to me a lot until we get to the final outcome that you guys want to have happen here. Because it's important that we're on the same page. But you made a comment of I give them all this information up front and then like we think they know it, we think they understand it, and it's too much. It's just we can overwhelm somebody so fast up front and think they read it. You give all that information to me, Matt, I will read the front page, maybe some of the bold print stuff, and then I will close it until I need to go look for it.
Yeah, a lot of people are like that. It's like, hey, we're going to go on this whole journey. Cool. What's the first step, right? It's almost like if for any of you who dive into like ChatGPT or Claude and you're going through these things, you go through this whole conversation and then it spits out this long thing. And I'm like, wait, can we just start with the first part? Because now I have to scroll all the way back up for all this stuff. Can you just let's just do this. I just want to do this one thing first, and then we can move to the next. And, it is so interesting with the communication thing here too, on the frequency cadence. And we have a great framework for customer service calls, by the way, that we share inside our coaching program, the GEAR method, which we did a podcast on it actually.
I think
so
we
go
did,
back and find that. But I think it's good for people to have the information, but now for you, it kind of forces you to have a good system of communication going out to people. And allows your clients to know, because what was one of the most common testimonials we see out there, Garrett? Gosh, Garrett's such a good realtor. He's always available. He's so communicative. So we know people value that, but a lot of times that is them calling you and like, oh, he's always available, right? And so on the opposite side of that testimonial is a hyper stressed out realtor who's like trying to answer every single phone call that comes in. And what if we flipped it? That testimonial came in and it said something like, man, Garrett is one of the best communicators. We always knew exactly where we were because he was always one step ahead. Now, that's like the same testimonial, only on the other side of it is not a hyper stressed out realtor who's just trying to answer every single phone call. They're the ones that are doing the outbound saying, hey, Garrett, here's where we're at with this. Here's where we're at with this. This is the next step that we're going to take. This is the expectations that we're setting for the next week, right? That creates clarity.
This is the cool part of getting that one step ahead and feeling like you're one step ahead is when you set the standard of when you're going to talk, when you're going to build these connections and these relationships with these people and keep them informed on what's going on. The beauty with this is that you actually get that chance to set them up so they know when they're going to be hearing from you. The worst thing you ever want is having your client go, I don't know when I'm going to hear from Matt Benelli next. So because I don't know when I'm here from them next, I guess I'm now the one who's going to have to pick up the phone and call him and be like, hey, what's going on with this? But if you just switch that to, I know no matter what, I'm going to talk to Matt on Tuesday. When we talk, I'm going to ask him about this. And then we get to bring, here's where we're at. Here's what's working. Here's what's going on. By the way, what were we trying? Not what were we trying? Here's the goals that I remember that we were trying to accomplish. Here is the environment we're currently in. Here are the actions we're currently working on. Here's the road ahead. And by the way, do you guys have any questions on what's going on right now and where we're at? And if you can do that every time, I guarantee you, you will be ahead of the game with your communication with them, which raises your value through the roof. And again, not being clingy. Because again, also, if you don't have a set time, Matt, now we're just like, calling them all the time too, potentially with little things that are coming up. And it's like, can that wait to our scheduled time? Or is this an emergency that I need to talk about with them right now? Oh, these things are all scheduled time activities. Every Tuesday, I can inform them on these little things. The bigger stuff is when you can reach out in the moment.
Yeah, well, it comes down to value and expectations, right? Because if there is not an expectation set, it can get confusing. We can be overwhelming. We can be maybe too clingy, or most often it's not enough, right? Or we think the client is clingy, right? It goes the other way. Oh gosh, this Garrett, like and sometimes you have that. I had one situation with a coaching client where she had this guy who just like called all the time. And I said, okay, we need to flip it. And instead of him calling you all the time, every morning you're going to send him, I forget if it was either a text message or an email, every single morning. She's like, that's a lot. It's like, yeah, but he's calling you every day. So if you want to slow that down, we need to take control of who's the clingy one here and direct me. And you know what? It worked. All he wanted to know, like he was just a very, very needy client, which we all have had those. And so 5 minutes a day saved her from 20 to 30, sometimes 60 minutes a day of conversation, of just getting something out there, which led to then the communication being able to go there. She didn't have to worry about phone calls coming in as much. I mean, sometimes clients are just going to do what they're going to do. And so having a plan helps a lot in setting that expectation, makes a difference, because then he knew, great, this is when it's coming in.
You want to be the leader of setting the stage of what's going to happen. And again, I think that during this real estate time, during the real estate transaction, just for the most part, no. People want to know what's going on. They want to know what's happening. They want to know all the information that's going to help them get to where they're going to want to go. It's very hard to overwhelm them as long as you have a nice cadence to it and you can deliver that in parts and pieces. The upfront, again, I think this is where, like, you talk about listing presentations, Matt. We've talked about this before, where it's like, oh my gosh, how many people have put somebody to sleep with a listing presentation? It's like, well, you're trying to show them everything all at once. And I would much rather you be super attentive through the transaction with them and super on point with them so you can handle things as they're happening in real time. Be like, oh, here, let's go back and look. I actually have this in my presentation here so I can show you exactly this piece. This one thing I need to show you right now about how we're going to handle this situation. And you have the answers, you have the solutions. It's just, and again, it'll set you apart. It'll set you apart as the trusted person that they have with their real estate.
Think about it when you're going on a trip, right? You know, at the front side, usually you look at the map, or if you're traveling, you know, on a plane or something, they're like, hey, here's where we're going. Here's the time it's going to take, all this kind of stuff. And then at little points along the way, it's, hey, here's where we're at. Here's the update. Here's what's going on. Here's what the weather looks like ahead, right? They don't just say, hey, here's where we're going. And then it's just nothing, you know, until you get there. You don't go on a trip and just say, okay, we're just going to go and like, trust us, we'll get there.
You're checking
That's
in.
where you end up in that situation. Like, honey, are you going to ask for directions? I don't need directions. And I don't, because we have GPS now, which is awesome. So
I'm not asking for
save the
directions.
embarrassment. GPS was created by a husband who did not want to ask for directions. And that's why, you know, having a GPS that guides you in your business is going to be helpful too. But that's a whole nother conversation. Coming back, loop it back around, Matt. I'm here. The value side, Garrett, before we run away from this too far, is okay, we have the expectation. Also, if there is value to be delivered, don't wait on it, right? And that's the key. Communication will have some value component with it when you're talking to your existing clients, right? Your active people, and they're not going to be upset that you called with that value. Oh, we have an offer? Great. Of course, we all know we're going to make that phone call. Oh, we have this update of this thing that we learned and you got it early. That's going to be cool. That's going to be good value for them that they're going to be happy to hear. You don't always have to wait on those things. So just, if you have value and expectations, we're in a good place.
This goes back to, we've talked about, Matt, like if a home comes on the market on my street in my neighborhood and a realtor in my neighborhood calls me and says, who knows me, and says, Garrett, just thinking about you, that home just around the corner from you, you notice it just came on the market? Thought I'd give you some quick information on it real fast, just so you know that that thing is live. This is the price it's on the market for right now. If they called me in a month and was like, it actually went under contract, or it actually closed, you know, here's the actual sold. Could I find it on Zillow? Could I go look it up myself? Is it awesome that I didn't have to go do any of that? And you gave me value. And that's why I was going back to, Matt. If you've got value to be able to give, don't wait on that value. Give that if you can, because again, those are those things that make me move towards you. I learned a long time ago, if you are the person who has the ability of giving information of value, give it. If you are the person that gives it second, you lose all the power. So if they learn it from somewhere else and then you go in, you're like, guess what? I've got information for you. And they go, yeah, we already saw it on Zillow. You've lost all your power. Be the first, give it, be the trusted advisor there. And then the other thing I learned about that, if you're going to be the first to give that information, make sure it's correct.
Yeah, because we've seen people rush to be first, and then it's, that was, how many times do I see people post on
Rates are going to come down, Matt. Rates are going to come down. They'll be just fine. Just marry the house, date the rate. This will be great.
Do people still say that?
What is that? Is that my 5-year arm that's coming up right now? Like,
yeah, right. Oh my goodness. Gosh. Well, we probably have some 7-year arms coming up now since that. I mean, goodness gracious. I don't even want to go into that right now.
That's a whole other topic.
Point is here with this entire conversation is you probably can do more communicating to be upfront and proactive. And while there is a fine line between being proactive and being a clinger, you're most likely not over there yet. And you're probably a long distance from there, and you'll know when you get there.
As long as you're giving value. And Matt, you brought that up at the very end. It's very hard to be a clinger if you're bringing things of value. This is why I started this whole conversation out here saying you've got to ask more questions to learn about where they're going and what they're trying to accomplish. Because if I have value that's going to help them get there, they will never have a problem with me showing up and asking questions. I know, let's say that their kid went off to college in the school they went to. Very rarely will it be a problem of me going, how's she doing in school? How's her first year? How's her first semester? They're not going to be like, hey, back off. Stop asking me about my kid. The more we know, the more opportunities we have to show up with value. And this is where I think we miss the boat a lot, is we don't take the time to learn enough. And then all we have to go off of is, I'm just, when can I present them with stuff? When can I give them just the crap that I have laying around my office that they might like? I feel like I'm chasing them a little bit. You are. You did. That's why it feels that way. So I think that's just ask more questions, learn more. Matt, anything else around this topic?
No, I think, that kind of shapes it up. Wanted a quick one there to just kind of inspire you guys to have a higher level of proactive, value-added communication with your people. And you said it too, connecting that value, sometimes just being interested in somebody is exactly the value that you need to show up with.
Yep. We'll wrap this up. Matt, my belief is your business should fuel your life, not consume it. And if that feels like what you would like to have in your business, in your world, come check us out, Life at 10 Tenths. We'd love to have you there. You can go to 10tenths.co. That'll lead you right into our world. And as Matt said, we have an accelerator coming up that will actually help align you. That's actually starting
today. So if you're listening to this in the morning, I don't know when we're doing the session yet, but if it's early in the morning, you could probably still join in us live. If it's not, then you can sign up and see the recording of the live and then still be a part of the next 7 days, which is going to be amazing.
Love to have you be part of that. And with that being said, Matt, thank you so much. Thank you to all of you, and we will be back soon.
Take care, y'all.